Welcome to another edition of MacBreak Studio. We're continuing our discussion of the new updates, Final Cut Pro 10.4 and Motion 5.4. And Mark's going to walk us through some of the other little features in Motion that are worth knowing about.
Yeah, so the big features, 360 video, same in Final Cut, has similar feature set. But there's a bunch of other little things, including one very interesting new behavior that I want to show. So first of all, optical flow's been improved, so it's quite a bit faster.
That's great.
I'm not going to demo it here, but just good to know about. HEVC support, so H.265. You can import and play it. To export, you need compressor.
Right.
Same as with Final Cut.
Right.
But you can do that. A very cool new feature is that you can now convert projects. I don't know if you ever started a generator, but you wanted to be a title, or a transition and you wanted to be a title, or a transition, or a title and you wanted to be a transition. And it's a pain in the neck to convert because you lose that placeholder that is the foundation of the template.
Right.
But check this out. Now under the File menu for any Motion project, we have this option to convert project to any project type.
That's huge.
Yeah, so I'm currently in a composition, that's why it's not available, but you can convert to any project type, which is just really nice and helpful for people like us who make a lot of these templates and plugins and things like that. So another neat little thing is in the library, under filters, there's a brand new category called looks, and it includes this handful of filters. And I just threw them all on one clip here, and I'm not going to go through them all, but there's bleach and California and chrome and fade, and I'll jump to the cities, Nevada, New York,
because New York always
tonal. I know, they're kind of funny, but it's a quick way of creating look.
Yeah.
There's not, if you select one and go to the inspector for the filter, you can see there's just a mix slider for all these. So there's not a lot you can do with them, but it's a way to get a quick look, which is kind of nice.
Right.
But most importantly is there's a new...
Is that your lotto ticket?
That's a generic stock photo video, lottery ticket that I purchased, but I can never win with this purchase.
That's funny.
So there's a new behavior, it's a parameter behavior, and it's called Overshoot. And the idea is you decide on a parameter that you want to animate. Right. Position, scale, rotation, blur, color, whatever. And instead of animating it, use the overshoot behavior, and it's pretty neat. And in fact, it will be responsible for a bunch of really cheesy ads right away. And in fact, I saw an ad in the Arizona and the Phoenix airport, and it's perfect for making that ad. It's great for other things too, but I just want to show you. So what I'm going to do is with this guy, I want it to pop up from the bottom of the screen. So I want to animate its position. Now you need to choose the specific axis for this to work really correctly. So I'm going to choose Y because I want it to move up. So I'll click the pop-up menu here, add parameter behavior, overshoot. And I'll trim it to end about there. And I'll say, look, the main thing here is you don't really want to change the end value because after the playhead passes the end of the behavior, it'll revert. So you want to change the start value. So I'm going to change the start value just to drop this off the screen. And now when I play, that thing pops up.
It overshoots itself.
It overshoots. Yeah. Now, there's a bunch of parameters that you can adjust here to adjust the look of the animation. So one thing is the ramp duration. By default, if it's about 35, if you bring it down, it has a bouncier look. If you bring it way up, increase the ramp duration, it just happens at the end, and it's a little more, sort of just solid.
No, I like the bouncy.
Then the cycles, right now it bounces 3 times, but you can decrease that so it bounces fewer times, but it's a bigger bounce.
Make it really jittery.
Or you can make it more, and it'll bounce up and kind of and lock into place. Then you can add acceleration so it flies into place, and it can be really jittery then because it's flying into place really quickly. So you can play with these different settings and come up with like a look that you like.
You do this with applied to text, I imagine, or
anything. So here I have it on all 3 of these slider tickets. And on these other ones, I've also applied it to rotation. So if I open those up, you'll see I've got a separate one applied for rotation. Right. So you can see how quickly you can make quick, fun animation like that. So you mentioned text. I have text turned on here too. This is one option for text where I've applied it to the rotation of the text. In fact, let's open that up and we can see the behavior applied to it. I've got 2 of them. And one's applied to rotation, you can see it right there, and one's applied to scale. So it rotates and scales up. Okay? And we'll come back to text because there's some more interesting things you can do with text.
You're right, it's cheesy, but it's cool.
It can be cool. So here's something a little less cheesy. So I've got this arrow that I've replicated, okay? So I've got this replicator, and if I drag the radius, it's like, oh, that's, what if I want these to fly in? I could set keyframes, but let's use a parameter behavior. So I'll set the end I want. I'm starting with the end, add parameter behavior, and choose offshoot. Overshoot, sorry. And set the start value is already set to 0. See, those are kind of slam in there.
Yeah.
So they could be, molecules that are attracted to each other or something like that. And once again, you can play with the ramp duration and the cycles to choose how violent it is, how smooth it is. Here, let's push that way up to more cycles and push the ramp duration up. Or I can push them both the way down. Sorry, I've got one applied to it already. I'm applying the wrong one. So let's set the ramp duration up. I know. Nothing much was happening there.
There we go.
So there's a nice slow bounce. I can drag the acceleration down. They come in very slowly. I can decrease the ramp duration and increase the cycles, and they bounce in. So you have a lot of flexibility in how this works.
Yeah.
And just the last example I wanted to show, and I think people come up with some really creative uses for this, is if I have text with a sequence text behavior.
Your favorite behavior.
Yeah, I'll turn this off for now. So if I do sequence text, I can add overshoot. In this case, I've animated the position of the text with the overshoot behavior. So the text comes in, but without the overshoot behavior, it just drops in.
Right.
But with the overshoot behavior, I'm able to have it bounce around, and I have a lot of flexibility on exactly how that bounce happens. So I can change that ramp duration and the cycles and make it do something more like that. I can increase the acceleration and decrease the cycles and do something more like that, or have it go way over. And you can go back to the sequence text behavior itself and say, oh, instead of going from the beginning, we can go from the center to the ends and
nice.
do something different. So between the parameters of the sequence text behavior and the overshoot behavior, you can create some very interesting text animation.
And do it quickly.
Really quickly, yeah. I mean, that's super easy to use and very powerful. So, and you can apply it to any parameter. Anything you can think of, you can apply it to. I just did mostly position, rotation, scale, but it'll work on anything.
And what's great, this is a motion project. You can convert it to a title and send it over to Final Cut Pro as a title.
So we'll see a lot more bouncy titles in Final Cut, I'm sure.
I'm sure. I have no doubt. Okay, so thanks, Mark, for showing us this awesome new tool. And you want to check out all his motion training library at Arrival Training, and check us out on the usual social media channels if you want to follow us. Great. I think we have a lot more to say in the future about these tools. There's just a lot to talk about, and you can see just how many features Apple has packed into both Final Cut and Motion. So we think this is a significant release.
Absolutely.
In both regards. So thanks for watching, staying with us, and we will see you in the next episode of MacBreak Studio.